Hello and welcome to Thrive Within. I'm your host, Marc Bucksath, a life coach, educator, and someone who's passionate about helping you live more fully, honestly, and aligned with who you really are. This podcast is your space for real talk and focused coaching on things like confidence, purpose, boundaries, self-doubt, and personal growth. So whether you're on a walk, taking a break, or just giving your brain a moment to breathe, I am so glad you're here. Let's get into it. Today I want to talk to you about something that most people struggle with, even when things are going right. It's the gap between where you are now and where you want to be. The waiting space, the messy middle, the part of the journey where your progress isn't always visible and nothing feels fast enough. That's where doubt likes to creep in. We start asking ourselves, am I even on the right path? Why isn't this happening faster? And maybe I'm just not good enough. This is where trusting the process matters most, because trust isn't really tested at the start or at the finish line. It's tested in the middle, when everything feels uncertain. Learning to trust the process is not about pretending everything's fine. It's about staying steady while things take shape, even when you can't see the results quite yet. The beginning of any new goal or chapter feels exciting. There's energy, there's momentum, there's clarity. But as time passes, that spark, it starts to fade. And the steps feel longer, progress slows down. And that's when doubt shows up. Not because you're failing, but because your brain is wired to want quick feedback and fast results. The middle part of the journey is not glamorous. It's repetitive. It's uncertain. And it often feels like you're taking steps without seeing change. But that is where growth actually happens. Think about planting a seed. You water it. You care for it. You show up after a little while. Nothing breaks the surface. That doesn't mean that nothing's happening. It just means that the roots are growing first. Trusting the process is about believing in the work even when you can't see the roots yet. Let me tell you about something that happened to me. There was a time early in my career when I was trying to break through a wall that just felt impossible. I've been working long days, juggling jobs, trying to build something meaningful in a field where stability just isn't guaranteed. And I had a vision. It was a clear picture of what I wanted my work, my life to look like. But month after month, the vision just stayed out of reach. And opportunities, they were slow. Progress felt just invisible. And then there was one particular night, and I remember clearly. I was sitting in my tiny apartment after wrapping another long day on set. I was exhausted. I was covered in dust, and the gear was still in the back of my car, and I had just given everything. I had given everything I had that day, and it just still didn't feel like it was enough. And I stared at the ceiling, and I thought, what if this just doesn't happen for me? It wasn't a loud moment. It was quiet. The kind of quiet that just sits in your chest. I was standing in the gap between now and not yet. And part of me wanted to just walk away. But something small in me whispered, trust what you built so far. I didn't suddenly get a break the next day. Nothing magical happened overnight, but I didn't quit. And slowly, over time, the work I was doing started to bear fruit. And that season taught me something that I never forget. And that is the results you want are often growing underground long before you see them. So, take a second here with me and let's think about an area in your life where you're in that middle space. Maybe it was your career. Maybe it's a relationship that's still growing roots, or maybe it's your healing. And name it to yourself. Say it quietly in your mind or out loud. This is where trust matters. Not when results are obvious, but when the outcome is uncertain. But right in the middle part where everything feels blurry, take a slow breath in. 3, 2, 1. Now exhale. 3, 2, 1. And remind yourself, the middle is not the end. There was a close friend of mine once trained for the first half of a marathon. In the beginning, they were on fire. New shoes, training plan, momentum. You couldn't stop them. But 3 weeks in, when the runs got longer and the finish line felt far away, doubt crept in. They didn't feel faster. They didn't look stronger. Every mile felt like a grind. And that's when they almost quit. But instead of walking away, they decided to simply keep showing up. Not perfectly, not dramatically, just 1 mile at a time. And something funny happened. By the time the race came, they weren't just ready. They were stronger than they had realized. The growth had been happening the entire time. They just hadn't seen it yet. And that's the thing about trusting the process. The results often show up long after the doubts try to convince you to quit. Trusting the process isn't about blind faith. It's about making a clear-eyed decision to keep walking even when you can't see around the bend. And here's a simple framework to help you with this. First, name the process. Be specific about what you are committing to. Ambiguity breeds doubt. Clarity builds trust. 2, detach from the timeline. This is a hard one because progress rarely follows the schedule we think it should. But when you detach, that's when it lets you focus on how. 3, anchor to actions, not outcomes. You can't control results. You can control showing up. Shift your focus to what you can do today. And 4, track small wins. Even when it feels like nothing's happening, there are signs of growth. Acknowledge them. And this is the fuel that keeps you going. And remember why you started. That's number 5. Doubt gets loud when the finish line disappears from view. Reconnect to your why. It's your compass in uncertain times. This isn't about pretending everything's fine. It is about steadying yourself when everything feels unclear. So, let's get real for a second. Where in your life are you waiting for something to grow? What part of your process feels blurry or stuck right now? And what would trusting the process look like if you stopped trying to rush it? Sit with those questions for a moment. No quick fix, no forced positivity, just space. This is the ground where real growth happens. It's not in the sprint, but in the steady walk forward. Here's your shift for the week. Identify one process in your life where you are feeling impatient. Now choose one action, just one, not a massive leap, just a single steady step that keeps you moving forward. Now focus on showing up and not forcing the finish line. Because the truth is, most good things happen in life grow slowly. And if you can hold your ground in the middle, you'll find yourself crossing the finish line that you once doubted you'd ever reach. So thank you for spending time with me. The middle is where strength is forged. It's where doubt gets loud, but resilience gets louder. You don't have to see every step ahead to trust the road you're walking. You just have to keep showing up. And if this episode resonated with you, I would love for you to follow the show, share with a friend, or leave a kind review. And it helps more people find these conversations. And if you're ready to go deeper, you can check out my books or learn more about coaching with me at guidepathcoaching.crd.co. The middle isn't your added ending. Just keep going. You're doing better than you think.